started. All right, so good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are going to be doing a presentation here with the LGBTQ plus Real Estate Alliance. That organization is really geared toward helping realtors and real estate professionals become more aware of LGBTQ plus initiatives, issues, things that are affecting us as professionals and throughout the industry, helping members of the community become homeowners and how to really advance those goals. So today we have Anita Legacy Blue. She is currently the president-elect for the LGBTQ plus Real Estate Alliance. She's also a 35-year retired Air Force veteran, #1 best-selling author for her publication or book rather, Breakthrough Success on Amazon. She's a realtor. She is a Real Estate Alliance past chapter president in Houston, Texas, and incoming president-elect for 2023. She is a member of the DEI Council. Anita is also the co-creator and moderator of Clubhouse with Club Action and Impact Houston Wake Up. She has her degree in business administration and has been in real estate for the past 8 years and brings her multiple years of genuine love for people, service, and leadership into her real estate business to help clients obtain their dream of homeownership. So today I'm going to welcome Anita. So thank you, Anita, so much for joining us. We are very excited to learn more about the Alliance and what we can do as real estate professionals to help our clients and help better serve this community.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brittany. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, the time out of your day to come and learn about the LGBTQ plus Real Estate Alliance. We're excited to have this opportunity to speak with you. I am, in my pride, this is the last day in June for us here in Houston and Texas was closing out the Pride month. So I got a little bit of rainbow colors on to represent. It was a great month. I did multiple activities. And so I won't hold you longer, but I'm definitely, as far as me speaking, I'll be doing this presentation to hope to enlighten you and just give you some background and education on, who the community is, how we started, why we're here to this point. And there's some of the things right now that are really coming back on us, so I'm grateful to be here. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to actually block my video so I can just do the best presentation for you moving forward. So thank y'all so much for being here. Can you hear your name?
Yep.
All right, awesome. So this presentation is from the LGBTQ plus Real Estate Alliance, helping the LGBTQ plus community on the path to home ownership. And this is actually our website. You can go and read about us or learn more about who we are and what we represent. Of course, this is me. And you introduced, I definitely had a great introduction by Brittany. I thank you so much. I just got into this the Alliance the past 2-3 years. I was with another organization prior as their president, local chapter president. And then once the Alliance was formed, then I came over here. And so that's why I'm here now. And I'm excited to be the president-elect. Starting in September of this year, I'll be inaugurated and moving forward to lead the organization. So the Alliance, we were actually founded in June of 2020, started accepting members in October of 2020. So we have 3,000 plus members now in the US, Canada, Mexico, Costa Rica, and Puerto Rico. Our 4 pillars, what we stand on. First and foremost is advocacy. We definitely want to have education, philanthropic opportunities, and of course to do business development for our realtors and community. We are made up of a community of members, and allies. We advocate for all things housing for the LGBTQ plus community. And we focus on increasing the LGBTQ plus home ownership rate, which currently stands at 49.8%. A lot of what we're doing is helping LGBTQ plus buyers and sellers connect with professionals in the community. Not only are we involved in advocating for fair housing, eliminating discrimination in housing against the community, but we also dedicated to increase our home ownership rate, which I just told you was 49.8%. Because what the Williams Institute has shared that 65% of home ownership is in the nation overall, that's the average, but 74% for non-Hispanic whites. That's where we stand with that statistic. And so we definitely want to, advocate for getting more LGBTQ plus families into homes. So you already know us. The LGBTQ plus community is growing. And I want to share some information as to our size, along with sharing how society already knows and loves us. It's just simple math, right, Brittany? You see all this simple math, right? We wish it could be that easy, but we'll show you on the next slide that it's not that complicated. And here's some stats you should know, right? We're not just popping up, we're not just popping up like flowers. We're simply able now with some legislation that has passed in the past to be comfortable in living our truth. The documented LGBTQ plus population is growing as more individuals are self-identifying and being more open about their sexual orientation and their gender identity. So the HRC Human Resource Campaign recently shared that the LGBTQ plus population has risen to 8% of all US adults. That is a definite increase. And we'll be seeing some more numbers to kind of explain that to you and where that's coming from. So here's something to think about. Almost 10% of US adults is part of the LGBT plus community. So if 10% is the part of that community, it would stand to reason that at least one of our neighbors, close friends, colleagues is a part of the community. So you already know and love us. So where's the other 90% go? Where's that at? Not only do you already know and love us in our community, society is also incredibly supportive of us. It's a vocal minority that are driving the current hatred of us, as there are more than 500 anti-LGBTQ plus bills being talked about and passed in state houses across the nation. But I know it's that's the vocal minority, and that's what we're fighting against. I know that because GLAAD just did a survey of thousands of Americans, and here's what they had to say. 91% supermajority of non-LGBTQ plus Americans agree that the LGBTQ plus people should have the freedom to live their life and not be discriminated against. We have an 84% superminority of non-LGBTQ plus Americans support equal rights for the community. 76% they're comfortable having a transgender or non-binary person at their place of worship. And 75% are comfortable learning a family member is gay, lesbian, or bisexual. So a large percent of the population is, in favor of people living their authentic lives. That's what it really boils down to in the end. We're just trying to be our true selves and not be hated on like any other person would want to hate on them as well. So let's talk a little bit about the LGBT plus community. Some stats you should know. So that 2023 Gallup poll found that in the presence of LGBTQ plus adults in America has risen to 7.2%. It was 3.5% in 2012, grew to 4.5% in 2017, and it was 6.5 2 years ago, and now a year ago, 7.1. So we are growing as far as self-identifying. The Gallup report also says that 58.2% of those who identify as LGBTQ plus are bisexual, followed by gay men, 20.2%, lesbians, 13.4%, and transgender, 8.8%. So let's look at this chart here. This may be the most interesting slide of the day, as it shows how societal acceptance is clearing the way for more to live authentically. The two youngest generations, the two leading the way in their acceptance levels, also the biggest percentage of LGBTQ plus people. So we're looking at, that's going to be the Gen Z and also the millennials in these born years here. So they're leading the way. So compared to the oldest generation, unfortunately, y'all, I fit into that generation. So I'm excited to see, people being able to live freely. So the baby boomers, you can see the acceptance levels allow us to live authentically. It really is stunning to see the difference, as only 2.7 of all baby boomers had identified as LGBTQ plus. And I would fit into the Gen X, actually, y'all. I'm not a baby boomer. I just missed it though. So I fit into that category. Some more stats you should know. NAR recently shared that 89% of members identify as straight or heterosexual. NAR found that 3% identify as gay or lesbian and 1% bisexual. So a Gallup report also stated that 71% support the same-sex marriage, up from 21% in 1996. So that's a huge, leap and bound of jumping. And I'll be able to tell a little bit about my story here, I think, coming up in the next couple of slides. So this is a UCLA's Williams Institute report. The U.S. LGBTQ plus community is represented, and this is a breakdown. 58% is white, 21% Latino X, Black 12, more than one race 5%, AAPI 3%, Asian 2%, American Indian or Native is 1%. So these stats break down. So every time our industry talks about diversity, equity, and inclusion, DI focus on race and ethnicity, they're also talking about the LGBTQ plus community. We come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. We are representative of, society. I got another little blurb that should come out. So 1.7 trillion in economic input. With the growing numbers and support coming, comes great economic power. Right? Back in 2018, the LGBTQ plus Chamber of Commerce found that there were 1.4 million LGBTQ plus owned businesses that brought more than 1.7 trillion into the US economy. By itself, the US LGBTQ plus community would have been the 10th largest economy in the world, larger than Australia, Canada, and South Korea combined. And the year Wiki Partners found that LGBTQ plus consumers had 917 billion in buying power, and that was 5 years ago. So we know that the LGBTQ plus community has essentially doubled, so our economic power is even greater. So we want to talk about some of the letters and terms that are used in the alphabet. The LGBTQ plus community has come a long way from being only known as encompassing gay men and lesbian women. Today, there's a wide assortment of terms associated with the community. The LGBTQ plus Real Estate Alliance, in its ally certification course, has provided a glossary of associated terms, and we're going to talk through a little of them so you can have a little better understanding. So this is what the LGBTQ plus stands for. And the plus is just there's so many others that are in the community. We just kind of added a plus. There's so many to name. And this has been a transition, coming for years. Some of the important in terms, I think people get really nervous on what to say. How do I address? You always want to ask people, how do you want to be addressed? I address myself as she, her, I am a lesbian. So it's always kind of, if you don't know or confused, just ask a question, respectfully, and people are more than willing to, answer your question as to how they identify. It's really a feeling of how people feel. It's not so much as how I look on the outside. If I feel differently on the inside, I want to identify a different way. And so that's what it is. If you make a mistake, all you have to do is say, I'm sorry, I'm learning, please forgive me, I'm doing my best. Because I have been in the community. I am a seasoned lady, and I've been in the community, 40 plus years, and it's changed for me too. So I'm still working through terms and terminology. So please don't get hung up on that. Okay. So L, of course, is lesbian, woman sexually, romantically attracted to a woman, gay, same thing, bisexual. So some of these terms we pretty much know. The other ones I didn't want to kind of bring up. I didn't want to linger with the terms, but you definitely can look them up. Non-binary, binary, you have cis, CIS, which is just really the term used for someone who is straight or heterosexual. So they'll say cis male or cis female. That means that's a straight person. A non-binary kind of means that they don't consider themselves either male or female. They just consider themselves as a they or a them. So if you hear those terms, just kind of, you know, that's a feeling that the person has, and that's how they identify. So hopefully that's something that can help, you know, clear it up for anybody who's kind of confused about that. But definitely you can, you know, do your research and kind of Google if you definitely want to interact. So I encourage you to do that. Thank you. So let's give you some history and some background. Now, you know, how we got to where we are today. And some wins that we've gotten. So the modern LGBTQ plus movement launched in June 28, 1969, the day when New York City police officers raided a gay bar called Stonewall Inn in Greenwich Village. Police officers were purposely raiding and attacking other gay bars at this time as well. So this resistance that followed for 6 consecutive days after the raid are widely known as the Stonewall Riots, which launched LGBTQ plus efforts in protesting and fighting for equality. As a result of this is how the Pride Month has been designated for June every year. Other states can do it in different months because it's not June for everyone. The large majority of states do it in June, but some people do it in October, September as well. So this is when we have the parades that are hosted around the country to celebrate the efforts of our LGBTQ plus community. We did have the parade here in Houston. It was very successful. It was a night parade. I want to commend our city, even though we're in the state of Texas, the city is still, you know, supportive of our community. And that is something that we are grateful for, you know, being here myself. So I don't plan to leave. I'm not trying to move, but I'm not a mother or a parent who has small kids either that identify as transgender or anything of that nature. So it's different situations for different people. We have to understand when people might choose to leave and go to another state. Okay. So the original flag, the Pride flag itself was designed in 1978, just in time for a historic 1979 March on Washington for lesbian and gay rights. So the original flag did not have the actual pink, the light blue, and the white and brown in it. That was added with the plus. So original flag was kind of like the rainbow, as most of you see the rainbow coloring. So as we talk about awareness of the LGBTQ plus community, it came with the devastating HIV and AIDS epidemic that began in the 1980s. More than 500,000 lives were lost through 2002 and spawned the AIDS Memorial Quit, which covered the National Mall in DC and captivated the nation. So we've been through a lot with the HIV and AIDS crisis as well. So hatred towards the LGBTQ plus community reached a crescendo on October the 7th, 1998, when Matthew Shepard was violently and gruesomely murdered. One of the most notorious hate crimes in our nation's history. The 21-year-old University of Wyoming student was beaten, tied to a fence in a coal field outside of Laramie, and left to die. Shepard was found 18 hours later by a bicyclist who mistook him for a scarecrow and died 5 days later in an area hospital. Let's talk a little bit about marketing. How Subarus came to be seen as cars for lesbians. This reputation isn't just a stereotype. It's a result of a calculated, highly progressive ad campaign launched 20 years ago. So the public outcry to the LGBTQ plus hatred eventually led the way to greater support for the LGBTQ plus community, including an increase in engagement from corporate America. While Absolute Vodka was the first brand to advertise and target the LGBTQ plus community back in 1981, things didn't move quickly. It took until 1990s, 10 years later, for the United Colors of Benetton to start advertising a campaign to bring the LGBTQ plus people into the mainstream of TV. Subaru followed, targeting the lesbian community, and then IKEA created a 1996 commercial with an openly gay couple shopping for furniture. So this is where you'll hear a little bit about my story. So talking about, one of the most important moments came during Pride Month of June 26, 2015. In a 5-4 vote in the Supreme Court, Jim Obergefell won his Supreme Court case that legalized same-sex marriage. Marriage equality has really helped the LGBT plus community achieve home ownership. 73% of all married LGBTQ plus people own homes, which is similar to the 80s for all, 80% of all, for all people, right? So what I want to do is to share a little bit of my story. As a military veteran, I went through the don't ask, don't tell era. I was in the closet. I couldn't speak on my relationships. I couldn't do any of that. So I had to hold back. And my book talks about that, where I'm becoming a leader while hiding in plain sight. I was able to elevate in the military to an EH, which is close to the highest rank that you can make as an enlisted person in the Air Force. But I could not be my authentic self until this happened. This changed my life. This is when I was able to propose and marry my wife, and be out. And, it's just, I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional, but it's, people want to ask you how I felt. I felt free, like anybody who's been in captivity, like anybody who has to hide from anything. It's a sense of freedom. So this bill right here, this vote of marriage equality changed my life. And so when it was threatened not too long ago, it was really scary for a lot of us, because that's all we want to do is be with the person we love, have a family, have a home, and the dog and everything, and have the life, right? And so I'm grateful for this actual law that passed, because it changed my life. And I got married. This bill was passed in June of 2015, and I was married in November of 2015. So I'm grateful for this actual law that changed my life. And so I definitely wanted to share that story with you. So we want to talk about protecting LGBTQ plus workers. There came a big moment in protecting our community in the workplace. In 2021, the Williams survey basically said, the Williams Institute survey, 40% of LGBTQ plus workers admitted to not being out at their jobs for fear of discrimination. That's powerful content despite the climate of acceptance, right? In June of 2020, the Supreme Court ruled in a Bostock versus Clayton County that the LGBTQ plus people are protected from sex discrimination in deployment decisions under Title 7 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So workers cannot be fired on the basis of their sexual orientation or gender identity. Many of these workers were protected by local and state laws. However, there were no federal laws put in place that established such regulations against discrimination in the workplace for LGBTQ plus. Once this happened for me in 2015, they did have the don't ask, don't tell. That kind of changed, but I still wasn't as comfortable coming out until I was able to get married and do that legally. So as we continue to talk about some of the wins and some of the things that we have been able to attain, that's going to bring me to President Biden and his administration. Just days after his inauguration, President Biden stayed true to his word to offer protections to the LGBTQ plus community. His executive order on preventing and combating discrimination on the basis of gender identity or sexual orientation was put forth only a few hours after his inauguration to prohibit discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity. This also led to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to declare it would administer and enforce the Fair Housing Act to protect discrimination against the LGBTQ plus community. A month later, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau announced it would enforce the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, ensure that no banks or lenders deny credit based on sexual orientation or identity. So while it's not the law of the land, this was a big moment for us in having some protections, against them. But there are states that do not have protections, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So let's go in, as we talk about home ownership. Let me see what I got here. Let's get some. Okay, same-sex couples households in the U.S. surpassed 1 million. Wow. 1 million. I actually had obtained my home before I got married. So, I was grateful to be able to do that. But here's another win for us. The size of the LGBTQ plus community has grown. We did recently learn that through a census that there are currently 1.2 million same-sex couple households in the U.S. This is up from 580,000 back in 2008. They report 780,000 are married couples, and half a million are unmarried. Most observers believe that an unmarried number to be under counted, as it is has hard to track unmarried couples. We can't do that, but this is amazing. In home ownership, we just want to continue to bring that up, right? And that's why we have to work together to understand the community and how we can assist and address everybody properly and with respect. Finally, on December the 13th, 2022, President Biden even passed into law the Respect for Marriage Act. This is a huge confidence boost, as now every state must recognize same-sex and biracial marriages, no matter what state the marriage was conducted in, which is definitely, I'm happy about that. You may remember the Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, when the anti-abortion ruling came out, said that the Obergefell versus Hodges should be reviewed. Should the Supreme Court eventually overturn this in 2015, states will still be able to allow the LGBTQ plus marriages. But the Respect for Marriage laws ensures, should that happen, that every state must accept the marriage no matter where it was done. So the LGBT plus community and home ownership. So do LGBTQ plus people own homes? Yes. The School of Law, UCLA, Williams Institute say we own about 49.8%, a little less than half, right? So I think we kind of talked about it earlier, that the census report, the national average is 65%, and where we have 74% for non-Hispanic whites. So the Alliance, Freddie Mac found that the top 4 reasons that LGBTQ plus people purchase homes are: to stop paying rent, makes sense, right? To have the freedom and control to decorate their personal space, to create a financial investment for the future, and to provide for greater stability personally and for a family. That's the top 4 reasons. That's the reason I do it. I love to host at my home with my family. I can do whatever I like in my house, and I have the freedom to do that. And so it is a big deal to be a homeowner as an LGBTQ plus in our community. I'm moving along, y'all. So why is the statistic so low at the 49.8? Why is it so low? Well, what discrimination does is slows wealth, right? 40% of Alliance members said that bullying, right, discrimination and a fear of discrimination in high school, college impacted their early earning potential. I can tell you a story about me. I was bullied in high school. I had low self-esteem. To be where I am today, you wouldn't have thought that, 20, 30 years ago. To be speaking, being able to write a book, I was very introverted and fear of discrimination, because I knew early on that I was a lesbian. And so this impacted me. So that discrimination started early with the bullying. So a national LGBTQ plus worker center study found that 47% of LGBTQ plus employees believe that being out at work could damage their career. That means losing a job, not getting a promotion, not getting selected for a project, just because you want to be who you are. And so this is definitely why, there's a slow roll, in getting this percentage up to some degree. So the Fair Housing Act of 1968, and of course, discrimination is a burden. So many are shocked to learn that the LGBTQ plus community is not protected in fair housing. I'll repeat that. LGBTQ plus community is not protected in fair housing. Sexual orientation and gender identity are not protected classes. Clearly, housing discrimination is a major deterrent for us. We have many stories of people I've encountered that have tried to even, purchase a home or rent an apartment and been turned down or been charged double deposits, or we don't want you because of who you are. We don't want you around here, just straight blatant into their face. So this is definitely an issue of discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity, and it's not protected under fair housing. So states with no LGBTQ plus housing protections. Let me go back one. Apologies. I want to go back to this one. So per this slide, it is legal in 29 states to discriminate against sexual orientation and gender identity. And the attacks on our community are growing. And in fact, over the last 2 years, there have been more than 500 anti-LGBTQ plus bills written and or passed. In fact, the ACLU is currently tracking more than 435 LGBT plus bills in the US. I apologize for stumbling, y'all. I apologize. This is an onslaught, as US Today termed it on March 31st, 2023. Makes 2015's previous high of approximately 100 seem quiet. So this is the problem. 29 states, more than half of the US, sexual orientation and gender identity are not protected. Texas is one of them. So we want to talk a little bit about, state with the most anti-LGBTQ plus activity as of March of this year. And you see Texas is leading the way, Missouri, Oklahoma, all these states, all the way down to Florida. Florida is on the opposite spectrum of Texas, but we seem to be clumped together because they have a lot more things that they're passing quicker than Texas is. But all of these states right here have legislation against the LGBTQ plus community in some form or fashion. And what you'll see here with Dwayne Wade, he's talking about moving his family out of Florida over the anti-LGBTQ plus legislation. So the impact of these bills, they're having a profound impact on our community. More than half of our community adults, 51%, reported that discriminatory bills and rhetoric moderately or significantly affect their mental health or made them feel less safe. The number jumped to 81% for transgender people. Nearly 70% of the LGBTQ plus Real Estate Alliance members believe that the current number of these bills being passed or discussed in state houses around the nation will negatively impact the financial stability of the LGBTQ plus community. And 67% of our members believe that these bills will decrease the financial stability of the LGBTQ plus people, no matter what state they live in. And I believe that no matter where you go. So as for Florida's Don't Say Gay bill, the UCLA Williams Institute reported that 72% of the community's parents have either considered or already taken steps to leave Florida because of the Don't Say Gay bill. This includes former NBA star and his wife, actress Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade, who are protecting their transgender daughter, Zaya. They've already moved out of Florida. They have relocated. We have several people who are leaving Texas as well, out of Austin, which I have my actual other realtors who have assisted. We actually have someone in Texas that says flee the red states. He's helping people move out of Texas. And so it is definitely a wave of people who are looking to go where they feel safe. To be honest with you, at the, Pride and Pride Month, there is a, sense of fear among people to just, be watching your surroundings. We can't just walk around free. You have to be definitely on your P's and Q's. And a large percent of this is targeted towards our transgender community. What does discrimination against the LGBTQ plus buyers look like? So 20.3% legal forms needing signatures. 20.1 sellers discriminated against prospective home buyers. They just straight up just said, I don't want these people buying my house. 19.8 real estate professionals. Can I say that again? Real estate professionals discriminated against prospective home buyers. Now, we had our 2022 survey that we did with the Alliance. Realtors were the #1 discriminatory persons listed in that survey. This year, it has improved, and I'm hoping that it will continue to improve with education, that we are here as a community just to purchase a home like any other person. If I'm qualified, what does this matter? What my lifestyle is. I want to purchase this home from you. I'm going to have my money available, so let's just do business. So I'm happy to announce that real estate professionals have gotten better, but they were the #1 part of the problem early on in being discriminatory, just to be honest. So housing discrimination. 47% of LGBTQ plus employees believe being out at work could damage their career. 50% of us believe employees reporting work discrimination negatively impacts their financial well-being. And of those making 75,000 or more, only 55% of LGBTQ plus employees are satisfied at work compared to 71% of other employees. I think it's because of some type of, you don't feel comfortable, and some people can show you, discriminate against you like any other type of marginalized group. So the Equality Act, this is why this is so important. Over 7% of this country supports equal rights being extended to the LGBTQ plus community in orientation and identity. You heard President Biden talk about it during the State of the Union speech. This will be a huge step for us. It is essentially outlaw discrimination at the federal level against the LGBTQ plus community in almost all facets of life, including housing and credit. You are happy to know that so many of the major players in the real estate and finance industry, including the National Association of Realtors, which has 1.6 million members, publicly support the Equality Act. Because of this, we are to start, because of who we are, we have to wait a little bit more, but I think they're definitely going to get this Equality Act passed, and we'll be in safer hands. So what is our journey to home ownership? Starting out the 2023 LGBTQ plus real estate report, it went in depth into the journey of home ownership. This report you can find on the realestatealliance.org. Throughout a variety of sources, including our own member survey, we're able to get a grasp of where and when and why the LGBTQ plus community people choose the first area to live when starting out their professional lives. We then learn the same for the first, second, and third, even fourth homes we buy, and what motivated these purchases. We believe this is the first look of what it kind of shows in such detail. So this is a report that we have that we do annually. We've done the second one this year. We did the first one on last year. So what it kind of talks about, it's really interesting to learn that surveyed gay men value social, dating scenes, and nightlife more than choosing where to begin their professional careers than the lesbian women colleagues. Nearly 30% of gay men listed the social and dating scene in their top 5 reasons for choosing where to live, compared to just 22% of lesbian women and 22.4% of straight respondents. Nearly 30% of all gay men included nightlife, compared to only 17.9% of straight respondents and 15.9% of lesbian women. So the gay social life is kind of where some people decide in our community where they're going to live. So the first home. In our 2023 LGBTQ plus real estate report, it found that more than 90% of straight LGBTQ plus real estate alliance respondents purchased their first home by 33 years of age, compared to only 75.9% of LGBTQ plus people. So this survey also shed light on the importance of life events, i.e. formalized relationships, marriages, children, and growing families for the LGBTQ plus and straight respondents. So 38% of all LGBTQ plus respondents to take our survey reported a formalized relationship or engagement or marriage was the top 3 reasons to purchase a home. We want to be married, we want to have a house and live the American dream, just like everyone else. So we also learned about the type of home that our community likes to purchase compared to straight colleagues in the Alliance. And remember, 25% of our members are allies. So almost all straight Alliance members surveyed choose a detached single family home with a little deviation through the home buying lives, beginning at 84.9% of their first home. And so for me, I wanted a yard. I wanted to have, my kids come over, my grandkids, and have barbecues outside. So I bought a house with a yard. But some people, would look at different things. So it's based on what you want and what you like as far as the home buying process or what you purchase. So this study also reports that straight respondents choose to purchase their first home in non-urban areas by a wide margin for the duration of their home buying journey. So LGBTQ plus people are more evenly split until their 4th home purchase. So at that point, LGBTQ plus people led by gay men, return to urban roots, while lesbian women also consider resort communities. I'm in Houston, beautiful skyline, right? I love to live downtown. I'm in the suburbs right now, but I'm not sure, because as we've gotten older, me and my wife, we wanted to have the family yard. So I think we want to have the house, like a house to come to. We want to have events, but we want to live in the city. So I kind of agree with that. Trying to move and get more into our urban area as you get older. So the impact on children. As you can imagine, the number of LGBTQ plus people with children is rising. So the UCLA Williams Institute reports that 29% of LGBTQ plus people have children, and that 21.9% of married same-sex couples are raising kids. So a review of this through the Real Estate Alliance membership, the survey shows that children and growing families were mentioned prominently as a home buying trigger. Straight respondents weighed children and growing families heavily through their third home purchase, while LGBTQ plus respondents valued home importance most when buying their second home. So what have we been doing at the Alliance? The Alliance has quickly become a major part of DEI efforts within our industry. So what we've created is going to be, we've had 2 national LGBTQ plus first-time homebuyer seminars, which are now annual events during Pride Month. And we are proud to have published a robust LGBTQ plus first-time homebuyers guide, which is available for professionals and consumers on our website to download. This is a beautiful guide, kind of step-by-step, the first-time homebuyers process for anybody you might know. So take a look at it. Go to the site, download it, read through it. And as you can see, some of the sponsors here who are with us in having this guide produced. So definitely take a look at our first-time homebuyers guide, something we've been doing. So we believe that stories matter. And so with that, we bring firsthand accounts of what life has been for members of our community, through virtual and live events. We also produce an annual LGBTQ plus real estate report. That's what I've been talking through most of my presentation. This year's version will showcase the LGBTQ plus community's path to home ownership, along with our migration patterns to suburban and rural America. We also have annual LGBTQ plus real estate top producers list powered by Real Trends. Last year, we honored more than 250 members of 250 of our members. We actually gave them their awards at our annual conference last year, and so we'll have the same event this year at the conference as well. We actually, give out awards and honor members of our actual organization. I'm almost done, y'all. So we, let me see. Okay, hold on one second. Here we go. So here's another actual something that we've done at the Alliance. We had to actually write a letter condemnation of hate. That an email was sent to 2 of the gentlemen sitting there out of their live in Florida with Keller Williams. They were actually threatened very severely there in Florida in their business. And so the Alliance, took a stance, and we wrote a letter here, protesting that, letting people know how we, feel this is not right. We won't stand for it. And so please, help us out. And so we definitely will fight at the Alliance for what we believe in, how we think people should be treated. We really are in fair housing, but we are going to address anything that, especially anything dealing with our members. So LGBTQ Real Estate Alliance called for NAR to remove member for alleged hate speech. That happened as well. We had to address that at a conference, NAR conference. Someone used inappropriate language or hate speech. The Alliance stepped in and wrote a letter to address this as well. So we are very active in the community. And when anything comes up that we think is in our wheelhouse, we would definitely have a stance and stay protected of our membership for sure. So Article 10 rule. So this is something that recently just happened with the Alliance, the LGBTQ plus Alliance calls on NAR and RPAC to utilize the Article 10 rule when supporting candidates and elected officials. We would just kind of say, you know, we as realtors, we have a certain, you know, we have ethics that we have to uphold and certain things we cannot do. And so what we're basically saying to NAR is that we have a pact, we give money to that. And if that pact is supporting someone who is against or anti-LGBTQ plus, how is that helping our community? And so they should be held accountable with any kind of hate or discrimination that they display as a person receiving PAC money. And so that's kind of where this came from, that we were calling them out to say, hey, you're supporting candidates that don't support everybody. That's a part of your association at the national level. And so that's what this actually, this actual call letter to NAR was about. We do have a course that we teach, and it's called the Become an Ally to the LGBTQ plus homebuyers. It's given by one of our staff members. His name is Alex Cruz. If you're interested in learning more about how this works and become Ally certified, you can you know, get in touch with Alex. You can definitely go to the website, realestatealliance.org, and get some free virtual training for your organization if it's something you're interested in, and you know, getting this Ally certified course, something big and huge that we've been able to put into play. And we've had over 1,500 people be certified as an ally with the Alliance. So Experience the Alliance Las Vegas. This was our first conference that we were able to have live and in person. It was a phenomenal event. People came out of the event very enthusiastic, very feeling good to have a conference where you can go and be yourself and not have to hide, full of people that are like you. And so it was a phenomenal experience. I enjoyed it thoroughly. We had, you know, Mr. Carson Chrisley there as a big part of our show and MC. We had Dominique, you know, Jackson out of the series Pose was our guest speaker. And so it was a well-rounded conference with education, entertainment, as you know, in Las Vegas, and it was our first one in person. We've had actual allies who came to the conferences. I've never seen a conference like this, and they were super excited. So this year, we have one this year coming up in a couple of months. We'll have the next one coming up. So it's going to be in September here in Houston, my hometown. I'll be hosting it as I become the president, national president for the Alliance. It's a beautiful thing for me to be able to experience this here in my hometown with my family. And so I'm super excited about that. It's going to be September the 26th through the 29th, downtown Houston Marquee. We'll have a second annual conference in person here in Houston. So it's going to be a big, big deal. I'm excited about that. So we have just launched this LGBTQ plus homes. This is actually our own website where people can come search for professionals in our community who they can work with. You know, anybody willing to list a home, buy a home. This is a new thing that we've launched, and we're excited about that as well. So you're able to check that out, you know, and see what we got going on with this new site, LGBTQ plus homes. Ally is the most powerful word to be an ally to us. We need you. We need you to help us drive the car where we're trying to go and, you know, be the difference or the change that we want to see. A lot of things have been happening in the world right now that seems to want to take us back or reverse things that we've worked so hard for. But we are going to stand for what we believe in and fight for our rights to be our authentic selves. And that's what it's all about. So as an ally, that's what you can do. Stand with us, fight with us, speak for us. If you see something wrong, if you see some type of discrimination, say something. Don't be complacent. And so that's a big part of what we're asking. So if you want to become a member of the Alliance, right? First year half off. The code is valid for $50 off our professional membership. You can go to our website, realestatealliance.org, and definitely check it out. And join us to learn more about who we are. You know, become a part of an organization who's moving forward, who's making changes in the world. It's definitely what we're about for our community and for others as well. And so I thank y'all so much for allowing me to be here. You know, this has been a definite opportunity for me to share this information and get you a little bit more enlightened about who we are. And let me stop sharing.
All right, everyone. Does anyone have any questions for Anita? Oh, everybody's giving claps, I see. It was great. Thank you so much again, Anita. That was an amazing presentation, and I really enjoyed it. So question-wise, what do we got here, guys? Anything off the top? Well, I have some questions, actually. So what can we do as a local association to help, really serve or better serve our members, and really make sure that our realtors are educated about how to work with members of the LGBTQ plus community in especially the transfer or the transaction process? What can we do?
Great question. So I think it's education is the key. Getting more people educated, trying to get the Ally Certified course to come and be presented to you to get a better understanding of how to actually work in the community. We're just people, and we just want to be treated with respect. So if you go to any events, find any events that you can go to and be supportive and learn and grow. Befriend some people. If you know someone at your office, hey, just be honest and say, I'm not clear about how to move in this community. And it's an honest thing. It's nothing wrong with that. And have somebody, possibly say, take you by the hand and walk you through it, or invite you out to just kind of see how we interact or who we are as people. Don't just judge us on the outside. Get a chance to, really get a chance to know us.
Okay, Emily, I see you have your hand raised. Oh, you're muted. Hang on.
Yeah, sure. Okay, thank you. Thank you. It's a very nice presentation. This is Emily Wang. I'm the Vice President for ARIA, the Asian Real Estate Association in Philadelphia chapter. So my question, and also I'm curious about in the area, in our Great Philadelphia area, do we have any LGBTQ members who are Asian oriented? Do you have any statistics? So how can we reach out to them to help them in the home ownership? And we speak multi-languages for our membership and our leaders.
Awesome. I'm so glad you asked. We actually just started a chapter there in Philadelphia, actually. And we're working, hopefully, to get one closer to your area. As Brittany's told me, it's kind of far apart. So to get to do those events. But you can join, I would get connected with that chapter, at least to get on when they have any kind of board meetings or they have any kind of activities, to kind of follow them on social media. So you can make the connection. I'll try and get back with Brittany, and if you can take a note of that, Brittany, and I can get your email, and I can get that back to you. Who you can connect.
And the closest chapter for us is Pittsburgh. It sounds like, well, at least for Pennsylvania. And then I think New Jersey does have a local chapter as well, somewhat closer by, but Philadelphia, we don't have an LGBTQ plus Alliance chapter. But I know there is a lot of really, excited people in our area that would love to start a chapter. So we can definitely continue that discussion with our diversity committee as well.
Sure. Thank you.
I see Katie has a question, and she put that into the chat. Her question is, what state and local associations have adopted the Article 10 rule?
I don't think any. That's not an adoption. I thought that was an actual rule that we all supposed to abide by.
Oh no, I meant the one
for RPAC.
Adjusting RPAC.
Say it one more time. I'm sorry.
Where they're looking at RPAC donations with the lens of Article 10.
What states?
Yeah.
Okay. So it kind of just came as a anybody who's LGBTQ that's in Congress, right? That's where we're looking at any state that has a person who is anti-LGBTQ plus, and we can see that money's been given to them. So we haven't named any person or any specific individual, right? But we know certain people, certain individuals are receiving those funds, and we're saying, why are they receiving funds when they're backing anti-LGBTQ plus legislation? Because we're supposed to be non-discriminatory. We're supposed to be in a certain lane as realtors. How, as we give money to our national organization, do they then fund the money to, somebody who's anti-LGBTQ plus, anti-Black, anti-Asian, anyone who has discriminatory type of behavior? We want to stop that, period.
Okay. Let's see. Anybody else? Oh, Emily, your hand's still raised. Do you have another question? No?
I'm done. Sorry. Let me take it off.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Did I have any other ones here? When we were speaking, Anita, you mentioned that you are involved with your local LGBTQ plus chamber of commerce or chamber of business and industry. Can you explain what that group or what the chamber does?
Is so much. They are a very active chamber. Our actual leader, her name is Tammy Wallace. She is very in the community, has been spearheading this chamber for about 6-7 years now. And we're in every facet. We are all about business, right? So we have a lot of business owners in the chamber who we hold multi events per year. I mean, per month. You can go to the chamber's events. They have a breakfast event. They have a drag bingo that we can go to. They have, different events, just networking events that we host. They have sponsorship. We've been to the Astros game. So they're very active. They're active in every facet of Houston. Rockets, Astros, Dynamo, anything, we are invited to that. We have big pride nights in all of those venues. And so the chamber is super active, has some amazing connections for us in business, as well as being connected to the city in its activities. And so we just had this last Friday, Pride in Business. Over 450 people were at this event. They gave out like 7 awards to different business owners. And so the chamber, I mean, if you want to get connected, try to talk to Tammy Wallace and get some, information from her and how they arrange everything. But they're very active in the city of Houston. I think she is over a region 2. So it's other things that are starting off in smaller communities. I live in what's called Fort Bend County. So I'm out of Houston, Harris County. I'm in Fort Bend. And so I'll be looking to start something here myself once I finish the presidency at the Alliance. I can't double book right now.
Yeah.
And so she's actually trying to get smaller communities to start their own chambers. And so, or be connected to the Greater Houston Chamber. So she's very active with her team and doing so many things here and make sure we connect.
Love that. We do have a question in the chat here from Victoria. What recourses do agents have who are discriminated against by clients?
Oh, you definitely want to file a complaint. I mean, let your association know, or your broker. Nobody deserves to be treated any kind of way. We all human. We all want respect. If you have a client being disrespectful, then report them. I don't know who you report them to necessarily, but you don't have to do business with them, or let your brokerage know that you had an issue. So, everybody will be aware of who they are. And if they're disrespectful, then you don't want to do business. It's vice versa. I don't agree with anybody treating anybody without respect.
I totally agree. And the last question that I have is, I don't know if you've already taken it, but NAR has put out Fairhaven, the free housing, fair housing simulation that puts our members of the National Association in the position of the buyer, the seller, or the agent. And it's all different scenarios where discrimination, would occur. And I think the intent is to prepare our members for those kinds of situations because it happens so frequently, and you don't want to be caught off guard. So it's best to kind of have a plan and to understand what needs to happen, what the proper course of action is when you're confronted with discrimination. So have you taken Fairhaven, or do you have any thoughts for this group or anything about that?
I have not taken it, but I will. And I suggest everyone take it, because we don't know how we're going to react, especially if we've not ever been in a situation. I've been very lucky in my life to not have experienced a lot of discrimination based on my race or my, sexual orientation. But I have before, but I'm not, it's not happened a lot. So taking something to prepare you situational. That's why we train for anything. I was a military person. We trained a lot to be prepared for situations. So I would say this is the perfect thing for you to take, so you'll know how to handle anyone who discriminates against you and stop you from discriminating against them. So I think it's just a great thing to take. I'll definitely be looking that up and taking it myself.
Perfect. All right, that's all I have. If no one else has any questions that they want to ask Anita while we have her here, we're going to wrap up here. And thank you so much again, Anita, for taking the time to meet with us today. This has been really enlightening and I think very helpful. Thank you for your service. Also I wanted to mention that, and obviously, happy Pride Month to everyone. I know we're at the tail end here, but this is really just very important time in history, I think, for everyone. And we really need to understand how all of this really impacts clients of all backgrounds and all natures. So thank you again. And we'll stay in touch, Anita.
Absolutely. Thank y'all so much. Safe. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Guys.
Thank you, Brainy. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.